There's so many positive experiences I've had as a student. Probably my passion for my subject matter was ignited by my teachers that I had at Palm Springs High School.
I was lucky because in the 6th grade I got to go to school at the zoo. I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I got to go to zoo school. And I think those two teachers were unique because of the challenges that they put out academically.
She specifically knew my potential, so when I turned in work, she would look at me and say, I know you can do better. So she pushed me to be better.
My 6th grade teacher did write a letter to me stating that I had a lot of potential and that I could change and turn things around for myself. And I still have that letter today.
In my sophomore English class with Mr. Keene, we published our own stories. He created a magazine, and it was just, run off on the mimeograph. We even had mimeograph machines back then. But we all worked really hard to create our best work so that we could be in the book. And it was really, really interesting. And it was actually that class where I went, I'm going to be a teacher.
I was lucky enough that my senior social studies teacher was Mira Lee, who was the 1977 Teacher of the Year nationally. I didn't know that at the time, but she changed my life. She was very considerate. She taught us things that weren't in the curriculum but were important.
The teachers that made a personal connection with me and really, made that impact on me were the ones that got the best work out of me, because I was engaged in their classes and I cared about it and I actually liked what I was doing.
When I think of myself as a student, to succeed, I feel that a teacher should be compassionate, understanding that not everyone learns the same. I feel that sometimes I was left behind in some studies, but I always had teachers that cared and gave me the extra time to take a test or to learn, or just would help me out after school with what the classwork was about.
I was kind of a wiggly athlete, and I don't think I would have went to college actually without Miss Kane. She instilled in me a work ethic, and it was, you're going to do it or you're not.
I had my student teaching experience, and I walked in the very first day, I'll never forget it. Mr. Winters was my supervising teacher, and he to this day is the man that I try to emulate as a teacher. When I walked into the class and he turned the class over to me, that moment I knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing, teaching.
I needed to be challenged as a student, so I always felt that I needed, and he did that, and he gave us some really difficult work. I remember many girls breaking down and crying in class, but he gave us some very challenging personal projects to take on, and that's what I needed. I needed to feel challenged on a daily basis.
Teachers that stuck out to me were the ones that cared about me, knew me, that really kind of supported me throughout that process. Because we were moving a lot and changing, and they just took care of me.
I remember finally feeling recognized as an individual by a teacher, instead of just as somebody who was supposed to be doing this, that, or the other.
I had so many good teachers when I was growing up. I am one of those really fortunate people who can really count and name still all those people who impacted my life. What I remember is they knew me, they knew what was going on with my life. My dad died when I was 8, and so the teacher that I had during that time period was so supportive and understood that I was going through a lot of stuff, and that my family was, and my mom. And so having somebody who really supported you in that way, but he never stopped pushing me. And the other teachers along the way, it was the same thing. They opened my eyes to things that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. I'm the first generation college going in my family, and I know that it was because of the teachers that I had who really made me realize education was a real possibility.
For me, I think I was very fortunate because of athletics. I had so many great coaches along the way that took a real interest in me, not just the athletic ability or even in the classroom, that they seemed to care about where I was headed in my life. And sometimes they had to kind of let me know I was headed in the wrong direction and that I could do better. And then I also had some great experiences from first grade all the way through my favorite high school English teacher, Mrs. Sizer, who just made me feel like my voice was important.
our new vision statement that the board has, embraced and come up with is lifelong learning starts here. And I really agree with Herb that it isn't about crafting the best lesson. We want that to happen. The content's important, rigorous environments are important, but we want it to be about a passion for learning. And we know that what happens is that spark gets ignited because somebody cares about you and believes in you, has a growth mindset, believes that no matter where you are right now, it doesn't mean you can't be better in the future. And we really want our staff, all of our staff, teachers, classified, administrators, volunteers, to connect with kids and be there for them and support them. The work isn't any easier for teachers and for our staff, and we understand that. And without that human compassion and that caring and that love for each other in our learning environment, we're not going to be able to move the dial for our kids, and that's really what we need to do.